Part 52. She always loves to sleep. Author, Guy and Fay. Chapter 525. Chapter 512 shouldn't be an exaggeration, right? The blonde woman was a little reluctant. Sir, do we have to hide like this? Lin Yan glanced at her and said, Master's order, you just have to carry it out. His glance contained a warning, as if he had read through her thoughts. The blonde woman immediately lowered her head, with a reluctant expression on her face, but she was very unconvinced in her heart. They are all members of the Cha League, and their strength is also considered outstanding among the Cha League, but they were sent by their master to protect Lin Yan, an ordinary person. That's all, but this Lin Yan always yells at them arrogantly, with the attitude of a superior. As people with superpowers, they have the arrogance of being superior to others. How can they tolerate his instructions? Hassan and the others had already complained a lot in private, and even thought of using some means to punish him, but she stopped him. After all, it is a task assigned by the master, or if it is not completed well, you will definitely be punished when you go back. She had experienced the Kameng's punishment once and didn't want to experience it a second time. As long as she endured it for a while, after the mission was over, she no longer had to listen to this person's orders. The blonde woman's hands hanging by her sides tightened and loosened, and her mind slowly calmed down. Lin Yan didn't know her emotional changes, but just by looking at her lowering her head, he knew that she definitely wasn't thinking of anything good. He has always known that this group of people looked down on him because he was just a useless ordinary person without any special powers. Lin Yan sneered secretly in his heart, what's the point of being proud of, what about people with superpowers? After he completes his plan, all superpowers will have to obey him. A flash of sternness flashed across his eyes, but it was fleeting. He returned to normal in an instant and said, you guys leave first. Since Hassan is being followed, it won't be safe here. Whether it is the Special Administration Bureau or the first or second team, it is not difficult to track a person to this place. Everyone looked at each other, nodded, and then left one after another. After they left, Lin Yan raised his lips slightly and took out his mobile phone. The interface on it was still an encrypted dialog box. I want 2 old men from the Li family and the Qi family. North. He squinted his eyes and looked at this line of words, not knowing what he thought of, and fell into deep thought. Initially, he was ordered to carry out actions at the auction. Not long ago, he was asked to steal files from the Special Administration Bureau, and then he was ordered to kill people and silence them. Now he is directly arresting people. At every step, the 2 wealthy families of the imperial capital are vaguely involved. Is it possible that there is some mystery in this that he has not noticed? Lin Yan carefully recalled all the orders he had given himself, trying to find connections among them, but the useful information was too fragmented and could not be connected anyway. He gritted his teeth, but the Kameng still didn't believe him. He has worked diligently for the Cha League for so many years, but he has received nothing in return. Just because he is not a superpower, everyone looks down on him, and that person just treats him like a servant. It won't let him get in touch with the core key things at all. Damn it! Lin Yan laughed coldly. In this case, he will figure it out himself. After all, he has been working for the Kameng for so many years, so he doesn't know everything. He knows more or less about some things, but if he wants to go deeper without letting the people of the Kameng notice the abnormality, he can only learn from other aspects. Get started. For example. He lowered his eyes and looked at the phone. Li family and Qi family. That person sent a message asking for 2 old men, so it shouldn't be too much for him to invite them to tea in advance, right? End of this chapter. She always loves to sleep. Author, Guy and Fay. Chapter 526. Chapter 513 Ji Yunchu, you want me to check Lu Qinggran? A bolt of lightning pierced the sky, and suddenly, Heavy rain poured down. There were dark clouds outside and the weather was gloomy, but inside the bar there was still lively singing and dancing, and the noise was as usual, without any notice that the weather had changed. Suddenly, the door of the bar was forced open, and the cold wind and rain blew in, instantly chilling everyone. A group of fierce men in black swarmed in, holding unknown weapons in their hands. For a time, the bar was in chaos. The bartender and waiter were so scared that they hid behind the counter and did not dare to show their faces. The customers who were originally crazy were also frightened and ran back and forth one after another. However, what they didn't expect was that these people didn't move much, but stood quietly at the door, as if waiting for someone. The next moment, He Yao and Ji Yunchu, both dressed in black trench coats, stepped into the bar with solemn expressions. He Yao, search for me. Yes. The men in black immediately scattered and searched everywhere. The entourage behind him put down his umbrella and put it away. Ji Yunchu wiped away the raindrops dripping from the umbrella, frowned and asked He Yao, this is already the third one. When do you want to find it? He Yao glanced at the frightened people with an expressionless face, narrowed her eyes, and said, we must not let go of any places where people may be hiding. If that person is injured, he will not be able to run far. Ji Yunchu rubbed his forehead with a headache. Sister, we have gathered the members of the second team with such a big fanfare. It is already too high profile. Do you still want to continue? As the saying goes, grabbing the dragon can't suppress the local snake. After all, the imperial capital is not their territory, and that's it in normal times. This time so many team members gathered at once. If the Special Administrative Bureau and the first team really pursue the investigation seriously, they will definitely not be able to take advantage of it. Walk along. But He Yao seemed to be energized and couldn't persuade her at all. Seventh sister, that person dared to use superpowers on me in public. There must be someone behind him, otherwise, he is a D-level person and cannot be so courageous. She guessed that his accomplices must be nearby to help him, so he attacked her without any scruples. Ji Yunchu got angry when he mentioned this. You still have the nerve to say it? Ji Yunchu looked at her with a look of disdain. You can keep up with a mere D-level person. I think you have lived a stable life for too long these years, and your skills have been lost to the dog's belly. He Yao's face became a little uncomfortable. The alley here is too complicated and winding. I didn't pay attention for a moment, so I let him slip away. What do you want me to say about you? If you let the boss know, you will be punished. This is true. If it were in the past, this kind of low-level mistake would have definitely resulted in being sent to a solitary confinement room for several months. He Yao trembled and felt a little annoyed. Seventh sister, please stop scolding me and think of a solution quickly. I have been so aggressive today. If I get nothing, the boss will really kill me of skin. Moreover, the most important point is that it is not easy for the Special Administration Bureau to explain. After several of them followed Li Ju to the imperial capital, they also transferred some members of the second team here without informing the Special Administration Bureau in advance. In order to catch the man this time, most of their trump cards were revealed. It's going to cause a lot of trouble. If I had known earlier, I would have gone to the Special Administration Bureau to file a case, so there is no need to shrink back now, He Yao muttered softly. Because they were afraid of the first team, they didn't dare to make too much noise at all. They couldn't use their fists and feet, as if they had their hands tied during a fight, and they were very suffocated. Ji Yunchu cupped his fists and snorted, just be content. If the Special Administration Bureau hadn't been busy taking care of itself right now, I'm afraid we both would have been invited to drink tea. While they were chatting, a man in black ran over, presented something with both hands, and said, "Two team leaders, we found this." Ji Yunchu raised his eyebrows, put on the white gloves handed over by his entourage, picked up the thing and looked at it carefully for a while, and then said, "It looks like fragments, Come and take a look. Speaking, he handed the things to He Yao. He Yao took it and spread it in her palm, then closed her eyes and activated her powers. A few seconds later, she opened her eyes suddenly and said, "Yes, it's them." She turned to Ji Yunshu and said, "That man indeed has an accomplice. And they just left not long ago." Ji Yunshu pondered for a moment and motioned to the people next to him to bring the bar owner over. The bar owner was like a frightened quail at this time, shaking his body, sweating constantly, and his voice was trembling. A few, we are all a small business, what do you want? Just take it. Don't do it." The two looked at each other and shook their heads in amusement. "Are you treating them as robbers?" However, he is dressed in black, fully armed, and holding weapons. He doesn't look like a good person. Ji Yunshu was silent and said, "Don't worry, I'm not interested in you. I just want to ask you a few questions." You ask. She looked up at the man in black and asked, "Where did you find this thing?" 9607 box. She nodded and asked the bar owner, who was there just now in 9607. "This." The boss's expression became hesitant, his eyes wandered, and he began to hesitate when speaking. He Yao frowned and said in a bad tone, "If you don't say anything else, don't blame us for being rude." No, I say." The boss was immediately frightened and said everything at once, Our boss just treated me." He Yao narrowed her eyes and asked in a deep voice, "Who is your boss?" "No, I don't know." Ji Yunshu and He Yao frowned at the same time. Seeing that they didn't believe it, the boss immediately explained, "I really don't know. That group of people bought my bar not long ago, and they come to sit there when they have nothing to do. I really don't know what's going on next to them." Ji Yunshu thought about his words for a while, and then said to He Yao, "Third brother, if it is true as he said, then these people must have something to do with the case you are investigating." He Yao sneered, "Seventh sister, you are so unsure. These people must be the murderers." "Huh? Are you so sure?" Ji Yunshu looked at her funny. "Of course, who else but the murderer would stare at a dead person's apartment all the time?" He Yao turned around and ordered, "You divide into one group and follow the surveillance of this bar to check the identity and whereabouts of those people. The other group should immediately disperse and chase after me. If you find any clues, don't make any announcement and notify me immediately." "Yes." Everyone put their legs together, put their right fists on their chests, and saluted her respectfully. Seeing that she had transferred everyone away, Ji Yunshu asked, "What about me?" He Yao paused and thought of something. Her eyes darkened slightly, and there was a hint of complexity in her eyes. She hesitated and said, "Seventh sister, I have another matter that I need you to help me check." Ji Yunshu, huh? He Yao leaned forward and said a few words in her ear, but she suddenly frowned, her eyes darkened, and said, "You want me to help you check on Lu Qinggran?" He Yao nodded. Ji Yunshu took a deep breath and asked, "Can I ask the reason?" "Because I saw him and went to the scene of the crime." End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. She always loves to sleep. Author, Guy and Fei. Chapter 527. Chapter 514. DRG is really Frank. He Yao continued, "The deceased has nothing to do with him. There is no reason for him to appear at the scene of the crime for no reason at this time. This is too coincidental." She had a solemn face and cold eyes. "There are only two possibilities. Either he was innocently implicated, or he is an insider in this case. No matter which possibility, it means that his identity is not ours. It's so simple to imagine. After all, the Lu family alone would never be able to come into contact with the level of superpowers. Ji Yunchu was shocked after hearing this. He couldn't help lowering his head and thinking, what you said makes sense. If there is really a problem with his identity, then we have to guard against it. We are currently in a troubled time, and we must not let go of anyone suspicious. But why did you ask me to help you check? He Yao was stunned. Besides me, you are the only one in the team who is best at collecting intelligence. I have been busy with cases recently and have no time to look around, so I can only ask you. Ji Yunchu, that's not what I meant. I mean, if you want to check Lu Qingran, there is no need to look for me. Go look for Ashi. He Yao didn't react. Huh. Ji Yunchu shrugged, and his tone was sour and subtle. I am now the boyfriend of Lu Qingran and young Master Lu. The two of them are like glue, so sweet that they stick together all day long, and they are so cruel to dogs that it is outrageous. The intriguing expression on her face made He Yao's mouth twitch. Before saying this, could you cover the red mark on your neck? You also say that others abuse dogs, but aren't you the same? He Yao thought angrily, why should she bear these critical blows? Obviously she is also a man. Ji Yunchu stiffened, and immediately stood up his collar. The tips of his ears turned red, his eyes became unnatural, and he yelled, you kid! Why do you pay so much attention at such a young age? Who is the culprit among us? I am at the theoretical stage now, and you are in the stage of testing the theory through practice. You dirty demon king! Knowing that he was in the wrong, Ji Yunchu coughed and managed to keep his expression as normal as he said, I'm not really needed here, so I'd better check on Lu Qingran for you. She glanced at the team members around her again and said, I leave my people to you. You just need to return them all to me after you use them. After saying that, before He Yao could react, he strode away. He Yao stood there and shook her head, sighing, what a guilty-minded woman. One of the team members was busy with his own business with his head down. When he saw Ji Yunchu suddenly leaving, he couldn't help but ask strangely, team leader why did she leave? He Yao turned around and said with a smile, your team leader sold you to me as a coolie. Member. After Ji Yunchu left the bar, he walked around a few streets before stopping. He breathed a long sigh of relief, took off his mask, and kept fanning with both hands, trying to blow away the heat on his face. Really? He Yao, that girl, why do you have to tease her when you have nothing to do? Recalling the conversation just now, she subconsciously touched her neck. Her fair skin was stained with red marks, which was extremely ambiguous. Is it really that obvious? Ji Yunchu was so embarrassed that he wanted to rush to Li's house and beat up the culprit immediately. She had clearly promised not to leave any traces, but she actually believed his lies. Sure enough, men don't have any good things. Dr. G. Just when she was angrily thinking about how to fix Li Tingzi, a surprised voice suddenly came from behind her. She paused for a moment and turned around slowly. Lu Qingran stood not far away and stared at her blankly, his eyes full of doubts and surprise. Why are you here? Lu Qingran frowned. This is a famous black market in imperial capital. What is she doing here? Ji Yunchu. Her gaze slowly lengthened, looking past Lu Qingran and landing on the apartment behind him. By chance, she wandered around a few streets and ended up at the crime scene. She was also convinced by this luck. Ji Yunchu laughed twice and gave a reason casually, I came here, to find some medicinal materials. Lu Qingran raised her eyebrows, oh. Ahem, as you know, some medicines are not currently available on the market, so you can only find them here. Ji Yunchu's Wangzuo shrugged indifferently, try your luck. Coming to the black market to try her luck, I really don't know whether she is ambitious or bold. Lu Qingran coughed a few times and said sarcastically, you are really frank. Most people come to the black market to look for things, which is mostly not a glorious thing, but she said it without any scruples. Originally, he was full of doubts about her motives for appearing here, but now he is really unsure. Ji Yunshu smiled, I am looking for medicinal materials to cure diseases and save people. Is there anything I can't say? Since getting together with Li Tingzi, the process of their acquaintance has been spread, so people in their circle know that Ji Yunshu is more than just a psychiatrist, so Lu Qinggran was not surprised by her words. DRG is really a kind-hearted doctor, I admire you. Hearing this, Ji Yunshu raised his eyebrows and asked, come to think of it, Mr. Lu has been studying medicine for many years and returned from studying abroad. Why did he give up and take over the Lu group instead? Lu Qinggran was stunned, not expecting that she would suddenly ask such a question. He is not very close to Ji Yunshu, and he only met her because of Li Tingzi. They grew up in the same circle. Although they have lost contact over the years, the friendship from the past is still there. The fact that Li Tingzi was in love with her was not too public. He also found out about it by chance. He also met Ji Yunshu a few times and they were considered acquaintances. So, she suddenly asked him this kind of question without any warning, which really made him stunned for a long time. After a while, Lu Qinggran smiled, relaxed, and said casually, what else could it be because of? My parents are old and in poor health, and my second brother can't help him up the wall, so he can only rely on me to climb up. The corners of his lips curled up slightly, why is DRG curious about this? Ji Yunshu said, it's nothing. I just heard that Mr. Lu is very skilled in medicine and wanted to discuss it with you. I haven't found a chance yet. It's a pity. Lu Qinggran laughed and said, what's the matter? I'll find a time some other time and I'll make sure you enjoy it. Although he gave up becoming a doctor, he did not give up on medicine. Anyone who wanted to learn from him was a dream come true. Ji Yunshu secretly breathed a sigh of relief when he saw that the topic was finally moved to other places. Fortunately, he did not become suspicious, otherwise the investigation task He Yao gave her would be really difficult to handle. Then, if nothing happens, I'll leave first, Ji Yunshu said. Okay, see you later. Lu Qinggran smiled at her and watched her leave. When Ji Yunshu's back disappeared from sight, the smile in his eyes suddenly dissipated. Even if you really want to buy medicinal materials, it may not be too coincidental. Do you really think he is easy to deceive? He narrowed his eyes and took out his mobile phone to report to Qi Jinkai, third brother, no clues were found at the crime scene, but a suspicious person was found. Ji Yunshu, look at my acting, it's supernatural. Lu Qinggran, my acting was flawless. End of this chapter. She always loves to sleep. Author, Guy Enfei. Chapter 528. Chapter 515. Jeju doesn't want me anymore. Qi Jinkai, yes, I understand. You have full authority to handle it. Lu Qinggran noticed that his tone was perfunctory and asked, third brother, what are you doing? Accompany your sister-in-law back to her parents' house, and don't disturb me if you have nothing to do. After saying that, he immediately hung up the phone. Lu Qinggran. It's true that if you live long enough, you can see everything. One day, I can actually hear the down-to-earth word return to my parents' home from my third brother. He clicked his tongue twice. It's incredible. Etc. Go back to your parents' home. Lu Qinggran raised her eyebrows. The third brother must have made his sister-in-law angry again, right? However, he obviously guessed wrong this time. It was not Li Ju who was offended, but his third brother. On the way to Li's house, Li Ju was sitting in the passenger seat with a hard-to-speak expression on her face and said, if something happens to you, Qi Jinkai, it's okay. Actually, I don't think you need to. He interrupted decisively, it is necessary. Li Ju was speechless, so she simply shut her mouth and let him go. This matter started when Li Chen wanted her to move back in. Li Ju didn't reply for such a long time. Li Chen couldn't bear his temper and called himself to ask. Unexpectedly, Qi Jinkai happened to pick up the phone. She hadn't thought about how to explain it to him, so she didn't mention it yet. This was great. Her reaction was bigger than she had expected before. She looked like she was going to rush to Li's house to argue with Li Chen. Li Ju looked at his displeased expression with some amusement, pursed her lips tightly, and the air pressure around her body was extremely low. She laughed and said, "Not that much. From the moment I was so angry until now, I almost turned into a pufferfish." As for that, Qi Jinkai had a serious face and a serious attitude, and his tone was slightly sad. "You didn't even tell me, Li Jimo. I haven't thought about how to tell you." It's not like she didn't want to say it. Who makes him jealous? If she told him bluntly, she would definitely be drowned in a sea of jealousy. As a result, now she doesn't have to drown in vinegar and go directly to the crematorium. Li Ju sighed helplessly. He also wants to develop a relationship with me. After all, I have been here for so many years. After saying this, her eyes flickered for a moment and she did not continue. Anyway, you should also understand his mood. Qi Jinkai's tone became even more aggrieved. Then do you have to consider my feelings? Finally, I lived with her for a while, but all the swan meat in my mouth flew away. They have been together for so long, and their relationship is still limited to the stage of holding hands, hugging, and kissing. Although he has the intention to take it further, there are so many things that have happened recently that he has no time to think about it. After finally waiting for the matter to settle, who would have expected that he would hear such bad news? Like a bucket of ice water pouring down your head. It feels cool to the heart. All the charming thoughts have completely gone cold. Li Ju. Jeju, do you choose me or him? Why did the conversation gradually take a weird direction? A black line slid down Li Ju's forehead. Be more serious. How old are you and are you still jealous like primary school students? Qi Jinkai sighed quietly. Today is different from the past. Our family, Jeju, has found her biological father, so she no longer wants me as her husband. Qi Jinkai, please save some face, Li Ju said unbearably. His face has reached the other side of the Atlantic Ocean. Could you please keep it in check? No more, Jeju doesn't want me anymore. Why do I still need it? This man was definitely stupefied by the stimulation. Absolutely. With a cut on my hand and blood pouring out, with a cut on my hand, blood was pouring out. The update you saw today was all made by your 2 index fingers. End of this chapter. She always loves to sleep. Author, Guy and Fei. Chapter 529. Chapter 516. Which case is this? When Li Chen arrived at Li's house, he was naturally very happy to see Li Ju. However, the joyful expression on his face dimmed slightly when his eyes touched Qi Jinkai. Why is this brat here too? Lim Wei, who was behind him, saw this and secretly tugged on his sleeve, reminding him not to show it so obviously. Li Chen then continued to smile and said, Xiaju, why are you here so late? Li Ju, I wasted a little time on the way. It's not all one person's fault. She glared at Qi Jinkai fiercely. However, someone's expression remained the same as before, without any change. Li Chen followed her gaze, twitched the corners of his lips and said, Xiao Si is here too. There seemed to be a vague smell of gunpowder spreading in his tone. Qi Jinkai smiled slightly and replied, yes, it's a bit rude not to come to the door for a long time. The smile on Li Chen's face became brighter and brighter. It doesn't matter, you are not from our Li family, so you don't have to come so many times. It's so troublesome. Qi Jinkai, no trouble, sooner or later we will be a family. The two of them laughed at the same time, and the atmosphere gradually became tense. Li Ju. Lim Wei. Is this right? Li Ju looked at this, then that, and simply turned around and left without caring about either one. Lim Wei quickly followed after seeing this. Xiaju, don't you care? He gestured to her with his eyes. Li Ju shrugged and said, can I take care of it? Concerning the matter of letting her move back to the Li family, one of them was jealous and the other was reluctant to give up. No one would give in. It seemed that she was being snatched away like an object. Lim Wei clicked his tongue and said with emotion, I never thought that one day I would be able to see my father and this person facing each other for tat. We will see each other for a long time. Li Chen's temperament is generally considered to be reserved and tolerant. Anyone who can make him angry is truly a talented person. Looking at him like this, he was quite happy watching the show. Li Ju glanced at him and narrowed his eyes slightly. Sensing that something was not right about her expression, Lim Wei immediately coughed lightly and said with a dry smile, don't take it too seriously. Dad just met you. It's normal for his emotions and thoughts to be a little radical at the moment, Li Ju, I know. Lim Wei was silent and continued, it's just that I didn't expect that the third master would be so stingy, ha 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 ha. During the conversation, they were already far away from Li and Chen, so he didn't need to care. He laughed wildly. Li Ju. She looked at him expressionlessly, bent over with a smile, and asked, is it funny? Lim Wei covered his abdomen and laughed until his shoulders were shaking, I can't do it anymore. Ha 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 ha. Is the third master even jealous of his father-in-law? It really subverted his imagination. In his impression, from childhood to adulthood, Qi Jinkai was one of those children from other people's families, always out of reach. A dozen streets away from these dudes who only eat, drink and have fun all day long, he never expected that something like this would happen. Sighed. No, he wants to laugh a little longer. After I finished laughing, I had to send the incident to the rich young people in the imperial capital to repeat it again. Li Ju. She is already a Buddhist. You can laugh if you like, I'm going to find Grandpa. She snorted coldly, rolled her eyes at Lim Wei, and went straight upstairs. She thought Mr. Li would be in the study, but when she opened the study door, she found that there was no one there. Li Ju's eyes flashed with doubt. What about people? She looked around and found that the pen, ink, paper, and inkstone that the old man usually used to practice calligraphy were still spread out on the desk. It was obvious that he had just left. Suddenly, he caught sight of something out of the corner of his eye. Li Ju frowned slightly, stepped forward, lifted up the top rice paper, and pulled out the newspaper underneath. There was a shallow crease in the middle of the newspaper. She glanced at it roughly, and the headline was, Handlock case in a secret room in a bachelor apartment? Li Ju's eyebrows were furrowed and his eyes darkened. This is the case that Mia handed over to the third child? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. She always loves to sleep. Author, Guy and Fei. Chapter 530. Chapter 517, Stop Hiding It. Just when Li Ju was confused, a voice suddenly came from behind him, Xiaoju. Mr. Li stood by the door and looked at Li Ju with some surprise. When his eyes fell on the thing she was holding, his expression changed slightly, but it was only fleeting. He asked with a normal expression, why are you here? Li Ju lowered his eyes, put the newspaper back to its original place, and replied nonchalantly, I want to chat with you. Oh. Mr. Li raised his eyebrows in surprise. She had a very indifferent temperament and rarely took the initiative to chat with others. What are we talking about? He walked over, folded the newspaper and put it away, and then sat down leisurely, so that no one could see anything unusual. Li Ju raised her head, met his gaze, and asked with a warm tone, Grandpa, are you hiding anything from me? Mr. Li paused, his eyes flickering, thinking she had discovered something. He did not answer directly, but asked, "Why do you say that?" "You don't seem too surprised since my identity was revealed," she said. To be precise, except for the expression of surprise and astonishment when Dean Liu made the announcement at the cocktail party, he didn't seem to have much reaction at other times. Very calm. Just like he did not continue to pursue the case after the mother and daughter were buried in the fire. It was as if he was deliberately hiding something. A flash of light flashed across Li Ju's eyes. Although she probably already had a guess in her heart based on her recent behavior, she still wanted to hear him say it himself. Mr. Li chuckled lightly, "I have doubted your identity before, and old Lu also informed me before the appraisal. Isn't it natural not to be surprised? Then you have no doubts." "Mr. Li, what? Have you ever wondered why I survived the fire? Where did my mother go? Also, do you know who was behind the scenes?" Li Ju looked at him indifferently, but the words he asked were like dropped a bombshell. Mr. Li's expression immediately stiffened, and then he sighed, "I didn't want to mention this so soon." On this point, he and Li Chen have the same view. They have just met Li Ju in a real sense. They have no idea what she has been through in the past few years. If she rashly brings up the past, I am afraid it will remind her of unpleasant memories. Hence, they decided to keep quiet and wait until the time was right to ask again. Li Ju slightly raised her lips and said, "I understand your painstaking efforts, but it's not necessary. I'm not as fragile as you think, so you don't have to worry too much." Her eyes were fixed on Mr. Li. "Grandpa, aside from worrying about me, don't you have any other concerns?" Mr. Li was silent. She continued, "I can feel that you are avoiding what happened back then, and don't even want to mention it." Mr. Li sighed, "Xiaju." His shoulders slumped slightly, and he looked as if he had aged a lot, and a sense of powerlessness came to his heart. Li Ju did not intend to let it go, and continued to ask relentlessly, "If you don't want to mention it, why do you pay attention to that murder case? How much do you know about it?" Mr. Li's face suddenly changed, his pupils trembled slightly, and he looked at her in astonishment. "You know?" Li Ju nodded, "Yes, I know. I know more than you think, so please stop hiding it." Mr. Li looked at her, pursed his lips tightly, and had a heavy expression on his face, not knowing what to say. "That's right. She is the boss of MZ and the head of the MO family. It is impossible for her not to know anything about what happened back then. That would be ridiculous." He sighed and shook his head. Unexpectedly, he had buried the secret in his heart for decades, without even telling Li Chen and others, but his granddaughter kept questioning him. This is all fate. End of this chapter. She always loves to sleep. Author, Guy and Fei. Chapter 532. Chapter 518. The fight between Wang and his son-in-law brings disaster to Chiu. Mr. Li was silent, with a complicated look in his eyes. After a long time, he finally seemed to compromise, sighed, and said, "Give me some more time, Xiaju. After he settles everything, he will give her and Ah Chen an explanation." Li Ju's eyes flashed with an indescribable emotion, and he let out a low hum. Mr. Li suddenly chuckled, dispelling the slightly dull atmosphere, and asked, "Where is your dad?" "Chat with the CI below." He choked, remembering that Li had been obsessed with Qi Jinkai these past few days, complaining and picking on him everywhere, and the bad feeling in his heart suddenly became particularly strong. The two of them shouldn't be fighting, right? Mr. Li stood up from the ground. "Let's go, let's get down quickly." When Mr. Li hurried downstairs, the expected tense situation did not happen. Li Chen and Qi Jinkai sat at both ends of the sofa peacefully, their expressions as usual, nothing strange at all. If you ignore the stiff Lim Wei opposite them. Lim Wei put his hands on his knees in a regular manner, not daring to move. He wanted to cry but had no tears. It's always him who gets hurt because of Mao. He will freeze to death from the air conditioning released by these two people. When he saw Mr. Li and Li Ju, he almost cried with joy. Grandpa, Xiaju. At the same time, the two people sitting on the sofa turned their heads at the same time following his voice. Qi Jinkai's eyes flashed, and the low pressure around him suddenly dissipated. The corners of his lips curled up slightly. Juju, where did you go? Li Ju raised his eyebrows and looked back and forth between him and Li Chen. He was quite surprised and said, I chatted with Grandpa for a while. What are you doing? Why is the atmosphere so subtle? Qi Jinkai was about to speak, but Li Chen beat him to it. It's tea, Xiaju, do you want some? Speaking, he raised the teacup in his hand to her and smiled gently. Li Ju smiled and waved his hand. No, I don't drink tea. Mr. Li on the side looked at him and Qi Jinkai enjoying tea slowly and took a deep breath. The tea he has collected for many years. It was so corrupted. Ah Chen Mr. Li stared at the tea in their hands with a heartbroken look, and struggled to say, why did you take out all the tea leaves I treasured? The smile on Li Chen's lips froze for a moment, then immediately returned to normal, and he said with a smile, Dad, I am here to entertain distinguished guests. He deliberately accentuated the pronunciation of the word K. Mr. Li. He was silent for a moment and looked at Qi Jinkai faintly. Qi Jinkai paused. Obviously, the tone of his words was not right. He was also wondering why Li Chen was so polite all of a sudden. It turned out that he was waiting here. He smiled and replied, Uncle Li is joking. We are all part of the same family sooner or later. How can we say we are guests? Wherever, everything is not certain. The two looked at each other, and the atmosphere suddenly became tense. Lim Wei looked at the scene and suddenly couldn't hold the tea in his hand steadily. He desperately winked at Li Ju for help. Li Ju. What on earth is going on with these two people? In the end, Mr. Li couldn't stand it anymore and interrupted their stalemate. Stop talking, let's eat first. At the dining table, everyone was seated. Lim Wei thought he could finally breathe a sigh of relief. He looked up and saw Qi Jinkai opposite him, and Li Chen, beside him. Why is it so difficult for him? Why is he always the one caught between these two people? It just so happened that one was his biological father and the other was his soon-to-be brother-in-law, and he couldn't afford to offend either of them. Let's not let people live. Li Chen looked at Li Ju who was sitting next to Qi Jinkai, and his heart suddenly burst into tears, and he said, Xiaoju, come sit here with me. Before Li Ju could respond, Qi Jinkai spoke first, no, Uncle Li, Juju is sitting here, I will help her next to her. Li Chen's face was not very pretty, Xiaoju's hand is not broken, so I don't need you to do everything by yourself, right? Qi Jinkai smiled, I'm very happy to be able to help Juju. Seeing that he looked apathetic, Li Chen narrowed his eyes and stopped paying attention to him. Instead, he said to Li Ju with a gentle face, Xiaoju, what do you want to eat, can I pick it up for you? Qi Jinkai also said, Juju, can I peel a shrimp for you? Li Ju took a deep breath and forced a smile, no need, I'll do it myself. How about that? How about that? The two people spoke in unison, and the next moment their eyes met. In an instant, there was lightning and the smell of gunpowder smoke filled the air. Li Chen narrowed his eyes and gritted his teeth and said, Xiao Ci, it's hard for Xiaju and I to recognize each other. You'd better let me show off and cultivate our relationship. Not to be outdone, Qi Jinkai said, Uncle Li, feelings cannot be cultivated in a day. Juju is used to being served by me, so she may not be used to others. Li Ju. Lim Wei. Mr. Li. Can you still eat this meal? Li Ju held her head against her head. When did she get used to being served? These two are pecking each other like primary school chickens. Mr. Li couldn't bear it anymore and slapped the table. Okay, don't argue anymore. He glanced at Qi Jinkai and said, Xiao Ci, I know you dote on this girl, but you don't have to go too far, and she's not a useless person. Just let her do it on her own. Knowing that Mr. Li was on his side for the time being, Qi Jinkai was extremely obedient and agreed, okay grandpa. Mr. Li nodded happily, looked at Li Chen again, and coughed lightly, Ah Chen, it is a good thing to cultivate a relationship with Xiaju, but you are, too deliberate, and Xiaju will feel uncomfortable. Li Ju immediately nodded in agreement. That's right, she really felt uncomfortable now. Li Chen frowned, his eyes fell on Li Ju, his eyes were thoughtful, and after a long while, he said, okay then. After just that, he also discovered that not only his daughter was on Qi Jinkai's side, but his own father had already surrendered to the enemy. No, it seems that the old man was the enemy from the beginning. Thinking about it, he suddenly felt helpless. This is not good. He had to think of a solution to drive the pig out of his vegetable garden. Li Chen immediately lowered his eyes and fell into deep thought. Seeing that the two of them finally calmed down, the other three people couldn't help but secretly breathe a sigh of relief, especially Lim Wei, who finally no longer had to suffer from the oppressive low pressure. Just when he was about to start, Zhou's mother suddenly ran in a panic and shouted, the old man is not good. The second lady is here. We stopped her, but she kept making noises outside the door to come in. Ever since Li Ju's identity was announced, the entire Li family regards her as the eldest lady, and the only one who is called the second lady is Li Yun. Mr. Li frowned, what is she here for? Upon hearing this, Li Chen put down his chopsticks with a cold face, she still has the nerve to come. Zhou's mother didn't know how to reply to his words, so she could only ask Mr. Li for help, old man, what should I do? Mr. Li sighed and waved his hand, that's all, let her in. End of this chapter. She always loves to sleep. Author, Guy Enfe. Chapter 533. Chapter 519. He pretends that he never had such a granddaughter. They had never seen Li Yun since she was taken away at the last cocktail party. Compared with before, her eyes had lost their sparkle, her face was haggard and pale, and except for her bulging belly due to pregnancy, he was reduced to skin and bones. Mr. Li had already had a premonition, but he couldn't help but be surprised for a moment. You. As soon as Li Yun saw him, he couldn't care about anything else. His tears rolled down like beads and he fell to his knees with a plop. Grandpa, I beg you, for the sake of blood and family ties, please spare my father. During this period of time, her life was worse than death. She was charged with murder and it would be difficult to exonerate her. Not to mention that her reputation had been completely ruined and she had no place in the imperial capital. The only hope was to rescue Li Hong, only in this way can she find a way out. Mr. Li was not moved by her miserable look, but frowned and asked, how did you get out? My mother bailed me out. Li Yun kept crying. Mr. Li snorted coldly, she does love you. It's a pity that it's doting. If Li Hong and his wife hadn't repeatedly indulged Li Yun, how could she have developed such an arrogant character, and how could she have committed such a heinous crime? Grandpa, I was wrong, please forgive me. Li Yun begged, I really realized my mistake. What happened back then was not my fault, I was also forced to do it. You've heard how nasty those people are, right? If I don't call Shan Minja here as they say, I will be the one who gets killed. She burst into tears, trying to wipe away all her sins. Unexpectedly, when Mr. Li heard this, he became furious. He grabbed the glass at hand and threw it next to her with a crisp sound. Asshole! He pointed at her, his voice trembling with anger, you know they are dirty and shameless, but you still hang out with them. Whatever happens to you is your own fault, why do you want to involve innocent people? Li Yun's head buzzed, and his whole body sitting on the ground, his face was ashen, and he murmured in disbelief, why? I am also your granddaughter, why do you never think about me? She looked at Mr. Li bitterly and slowly stood up from the ground, you have never seen me since you were a child. Now that you have her dash. Li Yun pointed at Li Ju, then at himself, and shouted heartbreakingly, I have become dispensable trash, haven't I? She is just a that can be abandoned at any time, right? Mr. Li's eyes were full of disappointment, it's not that I haven't thought about it for you, but you have never taken my words seriously. He reminded her more than once, but she was still stubborn. You're talking nonsense. Li Yun shouted, you never find fault with me. It was like this when I was a child, and it will be like this when I grow up. In his eyes, there was nothing satisfactory about him. Why? Perseverance. Mr. Li sighed secretly in his heart, closed his eyes, and stopped arguing with her, since you think so, there is nothing I can do. You go, I don't want to see you again. If her crimes revealed at the reception had broken his heart, now, he was completely heartbroken about her. He just assumed that there had never been such a granddaughter. Li Yun suddenly panicked, and his attitude immediately softened, no, Grandpa, I'm sorry. I shouldn't yell at you, please, save Dad. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. She always loves to sleep. Author, Guy and Fei. Chapter 534. Chapter 520 How does it taste? If anything happens to Li Hong, it will be all over. Mr. Li sighed, your father brought it upon himself. Even God can't help him, and there's nothing I can do. No, Li Yun kept shaking his head, his tone was a little crazy, that's not the case. As long as you say one word, Dad will be fine. Snapped. Hearing this, Li Ju finally couldn't help it, slammed the table, his eyes were condensed, and he said in a deep voice, Li Yun, do you think I am dead? She stood up and looked directly at her, and said word by word, I will put my words here today. Moreover, since I have taken action personally, Li Hong will not have any chance. The only possibility for him in the rest of his life is in prison, stay until death. So you don't have to worry about acting here, I think my eyes are dirty. You. Li Yun was so angry that his eyes were red, and he looked at her with a ferocious face, wishing to cut her into pieces. She clenched her fists tightly, her nails digging into her flesh, and her voice was hoarse and low, full of resentment, don't be complacent. Li Ju sneered and said, get out of here now. Qi Jingkai also stood up after Li Ju, with an unkind look in his eyes, didn't you hear what Juju said? We saw that you were disgusted. Li Yun stood there, glanced at everyone with a sinister look, and finally snorted coldly, turned around and left. After leaving Li's house, she couldn't bear it anymore. She held onto the tree trunk on the roadside and cried loudly, heartbreakingly. What to do? What should she do? Li Yun looked at the ground with empty eyes, letting tears blur his eyes. Is there really no other way? At this moment, a low and magnetic male voice suddenly came from the surroundings. Tisk, tisk, it's really pity for me to cry. Soon, a pair of valuable handmade leather shoes appeared in her field of vision. Li Yun was stunned for a moment, then slowly raised his head. That was a handsome and elegant face. The crisp and pressed suit made his temperament particularly gentle, and the aura around him seemed to soothe people's hearts. It is Lin Yan. There was a slight smile on his lips, and he did not look disgusted by Li Yun's miserable and embarrassed appearance. Instead, he took out a handkerchief from his pocket and handed it to her. Wipe it, it won't be beautiful if you cry so much on such a beautiful face. Li Yun took it blankly and said, "Thank you." She wiped away her tears, her face still looking tired, but it was much better than before. Lin Yan raised his lips and smiled, leaned down slightly, reached out to lift her chin, and said thoughtfully, "That's right, strong women are the most beautiful." Li Yun's eyelashes trembled slightly, and his voice was a little excited, "Sir. Could it be that he is?" Before she could finish her thoughts, Lin Yan raised his eyebrows, shook off his hand, took out a handkerchief, wiped his fingers slowly, and said slowly, "What a pity, with such a beautiful face, she is pregnant, how dirty." His expression was normal, but the words in his mouth were extremely disgusting, as if they were stained with something dirty. Li Yun's heart suddenly fell to the bottom, and he staggered back 2 steps, his body shaking unsteadily. "Who are you?" Lin Yan still had the same smile on his face. "Don't worry, I'm here to help you." "Li Yun, help me." "Right." Lin Yan raised his eyes and looked in the direction of the Li family, and the curvature of the corners of his mouth suddenly rose a little more. "Miss Li Yun, I can help you rescue your father." Upon hearing this, Li Yun's eyes flashed and he asked warily, "Are you investigating me?" Lin Yan laughed, "Your matter has already been spread in the imperial capital, so why is there any need to investigate?" He leaned down again and met her eyes, the contempt and ridicule in his eyes reflected in hers. "Miss Li, how does it feel to go from being a high-ranking daughter of the Li family to a street rat that everyone shouts about?" End of this chapter. She always loves to sleep. Author, Guy and Fei. Chapter 535. Chapter 521 I Can Help You. Li Yun's hand holding the trunk of the tree was so strong that his long nails almost dug into the bark of the tree. He clenched his back molars. Hatred grew crazily in his heart, and his entire shoulders trembled. Seeing her like this, Lin Yan chuckled, "It seems that life is worse than death." Li Yun immediately raised his head, looked at him with resentful eyes, and said, "Have you said enough? She is indeed in a miserable state now. Her reputation was ruined, and no one wanted to pay attention to her. The friends and elders who were originally close to her all turned a blind eye to her experiences and requests for the sake of Mr. Li and Li Ju. She is indeed worse off than alive." However, she still couldn't accept this fact when it was said so bluntly and to the point. Lin Yan did not show the slightest surprise at her reaction, and still said to her calmly, "Of course not." Li Yun's fists tightened and loosened, and finally he could only hang weakly by his side, closed his eyes, and said, "If you are here to laugh at me, then you are satisfied." Lin Yan suddenly laughed, "I think you misunderstood. I told you that I am here to help you." He stood up straight and looked in the direction of the Li family's old house again. "Your father, I can help you save it. I can also help you solve your embarrassing situation." Li Yun smiled mockingly, not really believing what he said. "Sir, I advise you not to talk nonsense. No matter how powerful you are, you will never be able to defeat the Li family in the imperial capital. The two top wealthy families in imperial capital and the family giants are no joke. Since Mr. Li has said his word to death, it is impossible for a few people in the entire imperial capital to risk disobeying him to help her. What happened to her these past few days is a living example. No matter how good the conditions she offers, or how lowly she begs, the other party will just reject her. When she was the eldest lady of the Li family, she didn't realize how powerful Mr. Li was. It was only now that she suddenly realized that even though he usually kept a low profile, his influence was so complex that it spread throughout the imperial capital. Coupled with the fact that Li Ju is the president of MZ, everyone avoids her, let alone helps her. Now a man suddenly appeared and said he could rescue Li Hong. How can it be? Li Yun subconsciously thought that he was just lying to her. Unexpectedly, Lin Yan chuckled and said, "Miss Li, don't think that what you see at the bottom of the well is the entire sky. As everyone knows, there are people outside. He snorted sarcastically, it's just the Li family, so what's there to be afraid of? Li Yun opened his eyes in disbelief, do you know what you are talking about? Let alone the imperial capital, even in the entire empire, it is impossible to find a family that is more powerful than the Li family. How can he be so unreliable? Lin Yan did not explain too much to her, and just said, I have already said it, believe it or not, it is up to you, but let me remind you that this is your only and last chance. Whether you want to seize it or not depends on yourself. After saying that, he glanced at her gently, then turned around and started to leave. Before he could make a move, Li Yun's impatient voice came from behind him, wait a minute. Lin Yan raised the corners of his lips as expected and looked back at her. Li Yun pursed her lips tightly, her eyes filled with reluctance. Even if what he said was unbelievable, this was indeed her only chance. She doesn't want to miss it? I promise you. She said every word, I beg you to help me, sir. Lin Yangxiao, no problem, but I have a condition to save your father. Please say. He twitched the corner of his lower lip, meaningfully, I want you to do me a small favor. End of this chapter.